Hi, YouTube Collective, and welcome to another reading with Keeper of the Moon Tarot. So, we're going to jump in with a love reading, and I'm asking the question, what do they want you to know, or what are they hiding from you? Because I'm already getting an energy for this reading. I'm already getting that this is somebody's ex. It's somebody's ex. I feel like this relationship ended potentially last year to maybe even 2023, and you've been apart for some time. And I get the impression that this person is also in a new relationship. I feel really strongly that this connection was something that was really committed. So it could have even been marriages. It could have been marriages. This person could have been someone you're married to and you've, separated. It could be the baby daddy. There's definitely a vibe of deep commitments, long-term relationships. This is somebody who is not willing to be vulnerable. This is somebody who is absolutely masking themselves from you. They're completely masking themselves from you. We've got the Seven of Swords, we've got the Emperor, and on this deck we've got a guy who's wearing a mask. Like, he's got masks on the back of his wall as well, so it's like he's wearing many faces. And I feel the urge to reference the many-faced god. If you're a Game of Thrones fan, you'll know what I mean. The Faceless Men. They are assassins, these faceless men, and they don't have an identity. And I feel like it's kind of valid for this reading because this guy that I'm channeling the energy, he seems quite cold. Like, he just seem, I feel like underneath the surface and underneath this persona that he's invented, he's a very warm individual who has a lot of potential, but he's kind of got an icy exterior. He's kind of become a bit cutthroat, like an assassin. And the many-faced influence there. He wears many masks. I feel like you've been with this man for a while. You knew a lot about him. You could see past the illusions that he'd weave. But when you've watched him potentially in separation, you've seen different sides, or you've seen sides that you know to be fake, or when you've watched him maybe even in your relationship at times when he's putting on a show for other people, or he's in different situations where he has to wear a bit of a mask, you're like, this isn't you. And I do feel like that's one of the things that's probably broken down the relationship. We have got the Justice card, so this could very well be indicating the divorces or the separation of marriages that I have kind of picked up on. But it's also karma, and it's also about balance, and it's also about finding that justice. And there's been a bit of an injustice in your relationship at times. I get the impression that this person cheated really strongly. Get the impression that this person cheated, or they did something that is not faithful to you as a person. And I'm hearing they hold you responsible. So whatever it is that they did, maybe they cheated and you called them out, and then they said, well, you didn't do this, or you were too busy with the kids, or you didn't show me attention. They've not acknowledged their flaw. They've not acknowledged their wrongdoing. They've not acknowledged why that it was them and not you. They've just passed the blame. They've passed the buck. The Seven of Swords energy, it's funny because we've got jellyfish on here. It's an energy of it's a lying energy. It's a deceitful energy. But the jellyfish are kind of indicating to me, like, so jellyfish, if you think about what a jellyfish doesn't have a brain. They don't have brains. And I get the impression that this man has acted a little bit like he doesn't have a brain at times. Like, I think you've kind of been like shocked by his behaviours, and he's done some things and you were just like, is this guy for real? And it almost feels like you were gaslit at times into thinking that he was this amazing individual, and then you've kind of seen through the veil of illusion that he's presented to you, and you're like, right, this is just these kind of situations, this thing that I'm dealing with, your behaviour is just unbelievably stupid. And I really get the strong impression that you, when you ended things, you did a bit of a switch of energy. Like, it might have been that you saw the light one day and then you ended the relationship the next day. So there is an energy of potentially just being generally mistreated as well, rather than being cheated on. And I think it's just an energy of you were just like really blinded by this person, and the cracks showed at certain points, but you weren't fully giving the information the time to absorb into your consciousness. And now, looking back, you are kind of like, wow, this is just like, this behavior is just unacceptable. It's just unacceptable. We've got the Wheel of Fortune, and I'm very drawn to the word control. This is a control freak. This is somebody who has tried to control you or tried to control the situation. I don't want to be disparaging about this person, but I do feel like this is somebody who needs healing. They need some healing. This is somebody who's they've not been the ideal person for you. They've not been a good man to you. I say man, obviously resonate with, it could be a woman, but for argument's sake, I'm just going to use that terminology. But like, this is not somebody who has done right by you. And, intuitively, I do feel like this person has known all along. They've known all along what they're doing, and they've maybe played a little bit of like weaponizing competency with you at times as well. Like, there's just a lot of manipulation games, and maybe it's down to maturity, maybe it's down to them not wanting to do the healing and being very stubborn. And I think you've maybe facilitated that in certain ways by allowing it until this point where you've said no more. Like, but intuitively, they know what they're doing. They maybe played dumb at times, but they've known exactly what they were doing. And I think now, as it stands, they have made such a bed for themselves to lie in that they can't, or they haven't been able to admit to themselves that it was their fault, because they realised if they were to accept that they're to blame in this situation, then they would have a really hard time liking who they are as a person. Like, it's about being able to like themselves and love themselves and keep that level of like self-loathing at bay. Like, they don't want to fall into this self-loathing. So what they've done is they've adopted this egoic energy of not taking the blame for anything and passing the buck constantly. And what they've done now is they've had to sit back, watch you walk away from them, and they are like, okay, they're having some realizations, basically. We've got the Ace of Pentacles. They had a happy home with you, and I strongly feel like you had kids together, or you've got kids together, and they have either lost contact with these children, or they aren't seeing the kids as much, and it's like, right, okay, I really miss this lifestyle that we used to have. I'm hearing building as well. So I do think that they could have been, over the last however long it is you've been separated, they could be building something to maybe facilitate a homecoming. So they might be trying to win you back. They might be building up something in terms of security or funds in order to support you more and the children. But I really, really do feel like this person is trying to get like the foot back in the door. I don't know if their intentions are entirely right though. Like, I don't know if they really have the right intentions. They miss you, they miss their life, they miss what they had, but whether or not they're willing to change entirely or admit that they're to blame or do whatever it is to make amends in your relationship, I don't know if they're in that energy yet. I don't think they're mature enough for it, or not emotionally mature. We've got team spirit, goals, interest, communication. This person is going to come forward with some kind of communication for you and some kind of offer, I do think. We've got life, joy, rebirth, growth. Now, if that doesn't back up what I've just been saying, like they miss their old life, they miss the joy that they used to have. We've got a picture of a child on the card, and this could represent the kids that you have together. They want a rebirth of your relationship. They want to grow together. They want to bring it back to what it used to be. And I'm really drawn to the hat this little boy has on. The color, it could be the color red is something that is important to you. It could be that red represents love, roses, it represents that kind of thing, sensuality. It could be that you've got of a deep connection, and that's why I'm drawn to the hat, like for this particular person. But the hat also could be, it could be the hat I'm drawn to. It could be, for some it might resonate that this hat is something that maybe your person or this person wears hats a lot, or there's something of importance. It could even be a crown chakra link there, because we've got the crown. So a lot to take from that one. Take what resonates with that. We've got enterprising spirit, pursuit, achievement, goals. This person wants you back. Now, what's really interesting as well is we've got two cards that say spirit on them. So we've got team spirit and enterprising spirit. That is, to me, making me think that this is a very guided separation or a very guided connection. It's spirit guided. Spirit's leading the way with this. We've also got two kind of words with team and enterprising that I associate with business or work of a capacity. So there's something of this connection having some kind of business influence. Now, maybe you owned a business together. Maybe the person that I'm talking about is very business orientated or work orientated. Maybe you're very financially abundant, but there's something to do with business or money that is interlinked into this connection as well. We've got upright, faith, justice, and trust. Now, it's interesting that we've got justice again. So there is an injustice here. There's an injustice in this connection, or there has been in the past. This connection needs to have something highlighted in order for the justice to be restored and the balance to be restored. Now, it could be that this person needs to realise what they've been doing to you is wrong and that it's absolutely not your fault and take ownership. Or it could be something more than that. There could be something else. We've got days: consider, foolish, and hesitate. So this person is foolish. They clearly are, or they've been foolish. Consider. They're taking note of things. So especially if you do have kids and you are in a co-parenting situation, I would kind of be wary of changes here, because it does feel like this person's going to try and test the water a little bit, but there is a hesitance to it as well. We've got reshape, which kind of backs up what I was saying. We've got reflect, and then we've got confidence. So clearly this person wants to reshape the connection. Clearly they have a lot to reflect on, and clearly there is a confidence level that is required of moving this connection forward. I'm also really drawn to the blues. So we've got throat chakra, and I'm hearing sudden. 666 might be a number that you're seeing a lot. We've also got Aquarius, love, news, and enemy. Now, Aquarius, this could be a time scale. It could be that you've got Aquarius in your chart. It could be that somebody around you is an Aquarius, even your children. We've got love. So I do feel like this person has a capacity for love that is quite deep and emotional. But, another thing about the Aquarius is that we do have some symbolism there, because Aquarians are considered. I'm not going to say they are, because I don't find it true in my experience, but they're considered to be emotionally detached. So it could be that they're taking on that standard Aquarian energy that's quite emotionally detached and cold, and it could be that, but I also have like we've also got energy of kind of Venus and Mercury, so Libra, Taurus, Gemini, Virgo, all of these signs as well are very much like known to be a bit detached at times, so they definitely just feel like there's a detachment. We've got news as well, so I do think they're going to come forward with some kind of information for you that is in relation to them. I get the biggest feeling that they're going to tell you that if they have had another connection after your separation, I get the biggest feeling that they're going to tell you it's over and that, it's not working. I think they're going to come forward with something that does test the water to see your reaction. So I do feel like they might come forward and say, look, Mia, it's over with this person. It wasn't right. It just didn't work for me. Like, I don't feel like I found that person since we've split. I feel like they're going to say something like that that's going to potentially see so they can judge your reaction to it and see if it's worth trying to pursue getting back together. The enemy card is giving that you've had some difficult times in this separation. Like, I feel like between the two of you, you've probably had a lot of arguments. I feel like you've had a lot of times where you have probably hated each other because of it, but obviously that's because there's been a lot of hurt going on in the connection. I also get that that's behind you now, but I feel like they still hold a bit of resentment towards you. I really get the strong impression that they would get back with you in a heartbeat, but at the same time, they are resentful for the fact that you ended things, or for the fact that you caught them out, or for the fact that you've seen through their illusion. There's still a manipulative energy. This person has got some healing to do. I feel like my advice, as far as it goes when it comes to advice for these connections, because they do all differ, my advice would be probably to maintain a level of separation from this person until you see some change, because they have some big changes they need to go through. They have some healing that needs to be facilitated, is what Spirit's saying to me. And the best way that that's facilitated is into separation, because when you're comfortable, you don't change. And if they are back in a relationship with you, they essentially will fall back into these same patterns because it's comfortable and they think that they can do that. So I do feel like my advice, as far as I would go, is to wait until you see some real changes in this person before you give them the green light, if that's what you want, because there's still a manipulative energy. This person needs to go through a transformation, and I don't think that they'll do that in a relationship with you. They will just try and fall back into manipulative patterns. And you might think that this person is somebody you do want to spend your life with, and of course there's no judgment. We all have our healing, and if that's what you want, that's the line that you need to pursue. But I would say, as far as making sure that you are setting a standard and making sure that you don't repeat cycles, the change needs to occur first. So that is all I've got for this reading, guys. I do hope you have enjoyed it. If it resonates, please let me know in the comments below. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. It really does inspire me to make new videos, and see you again soon.